Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast, built for real estate professionals that want to work less, earn more, and make an impact in their community. For information on how you can become part of the estate professionals community, visit probatemastery.com. Welcome everyone in. Hopefully we are actually recording. This is our weekly estate professionals mastermind call. Turns into a podcast and a YouTube video after the fact. So if you are not here normally and don't know about the podcast and the YouTube video, this is it. So what you guys are going to listen to and our talking points and questions and answers today are going to go over onto the Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast on any podcast platform that you listen to, or on YouTube. YouTube is going to be, just look up Probate Mastery and then a weekly coaching call. So this is for you guys. So it's a chance to ask any questions that you have, share any wins that you've had. If you are in the middle of a unusual deal, have a chance to share that. So let's just kind of start with the idea of chanting. Okay. Weird idea, weird way to start. I see James on here. He was just in our role play a second ago. And so we kind of closed out our role play a second ago by talking about chanting, which is weird. It's actually one of our Probate Mastery alumni and someone in our small group coaching keeps bringing this up to me repetitively when we role play. He's always really, really good. Ryan Smith, if you guys have a chance to hear Ryan Smith role play a probate call, it's a thing of beauty. And I'll ask him how he gets good. Is he just naturally that good of a communicator? And he usually says, no, I chant. I don't sit in a dark room in a corner and go om, but he takes pieces of pieces of scripts, and he chants them over and over and over, and he listens back to what he's saying and how he's saying it and where his inflection points are and things like that. And he's not taking an entire probate script, because we don't know where conversations are going to go when we're engaged with a lead or a prospect or someone that's just recently applied for probate. We don't know where the conversation is going to go. So you don't want to say, hey, I'm going to take this 15-minute conversation outline and memorize it. We don't want to do that. But anything that if you start saying it, you're always going to have a chance to finish, you should drill that and rehearse it to the point that it sounds extremely organic and is very, very clear. And very, very clear is the part that a lot of people struggle with. Very clear can be an issue, because sometimes we over-explain things, and it kind of undermines our credibility and undermines our authority. So we want to be able to listen back to what we're saying and go, okay, was that clear, or would that have lent itself to add some confusion in our conversation? But once you have kind of a clear saying, then you want to go and just kind of chant it. And I'll give you guys a quick little example here real quick. If I can deliver my unique selling proposition on a phone call, and I'll just tell you what my unique selling proposition is basically, and I've got half a dozen of these. So mine would be, hey, basically what I do is I provide kind of like a concierge service to help through probate or an estate administration process. I don't want to bore you with a ton of details. Okay, that's a clipped version of my USP. And I deliver that clipped version of my USP on the majority of cold calls. The reason is because I know that person didn't ask for my call when we got on the phone, and I want to be able to quickly describe what I do, knowing that they're probably not thinking about everything that I'm saying. They're more than likely thinking about, how do I get off of this call? That's most likely what they're thinking about at that point. So going into great detail on what I'm offering at that stage of a call, 30 seconds, 40 seconds in, it's probably not the best thing in the world. So I'll usually give my clipped version. And then here's where I might chant, and not to them, but alone in my house practicing. I know that I'm going to go into a line of questioning that's leading them to a specific answer. And that line of questioning, if I start, I will always finish. So that's our thing here. If you start saying something, you know you're always going to get all the way through it. And those things you need to go in and you need to drill those individual isolated pieces that you're going to put in conversation. So the next question I would ask that person that I've just given my USP to is, I guess my question for you would be, did you guys just recently get started with the process, maybe in the last couple of weeks, or have you been in the middle of it for a while? And then they answer, and I go, oh, okay. So, and you guys are working with an attorney, or are you kind of navigating the process independently? And they give their answer, and I say, okay, great, great. So at this stage of the process that you just started, or you've been in the middle, it doesn't matter. You guys kind of have everything under control at the moment, or is there anything I could help with? So that's a line of questioning that I frequently go into after my USP. And I know that if I can get that very first question out, I'm gonna finish all three questions. So because I know that those come up on almost every call, I'll just drill and practice those three questions over and over and over and over again. And you've got to have discipline. It feels really weird when you're doing this in a room alone. It feels even more weird when you're doing it standing in front of a bathroom mirror looking at yourself. But you have to have the discipline to do this. If you want to be really good at conversations, you need to practice these things repetitively and do what Ryan would call chanting. And that's basically what it is I'm chanting this piece of a script to myself until it sounds unbelievably natural. Okay. I don't have to memorize a start to finish script. I have chanted and memorized my opening, my USP, my lines of questioning. I've chanted and memorized my explanation for information package that I'll send out. I've chanted and memorized my um, deep dive description of my services. I've chanted and memorized the way that I bring real estate up and I ask what their plans are. I've chanted and memorized trying to get them to tell me that they'll give me a chance to bring an offer if they sell. I've chanted and memorized my appointment request. Those are the things that I've basically chanted and memorized. I might not use every single one of those in a call. I can promise you I'll use at least three, though. I just don't always know which three. And when they come up, when it naturally fits, I can reach into my quiver and I can pull that piece of my conversation out and know that it's clear and understandable to them and that they're going to basically, I'm going to be able to say it in a very compelling way without having to read and without having to get confused and out having to wonder, what are they thinking right now? Because I've practiced. All right. So that's what I want to encourage those of you who are having any kind of phone interaction. It doesn't need to be a cold call. It could be maybe all you do is you call warm leads that an ISA is set up for you. But if you are on any kind of a call, I think it's important that you have different sayings that you can pull out of your quiver and use without worrying how it sounds, because you've already figured out that it sounds really good by chanting it to yourself or recording yourself. How many of you guys have done this? I mean, Douglas has done this. Anybody else done this?
Yeah, and Bruce, that opening line that you just said about the unique, a concierge service.
Hmm.
There was a coach who just retired about 2 years ago, but he'd been coaching for 45 years. And he's a wholesale coach, and I shared that with him, and he thought it was incredible.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
thought it was so good that you could use it in emails and text messages.
For sure. Absolutely. That's kind of a great example. So that goes to the front half of what I was saying. Beyond the chanting, we need to make sure that what we're saying is really clear and compelling. So when you're writing these things down, you should kind of write a script out. Go ahead and write it out. I don't care. I prefer that you guys get to the point where you're not reading your scripts. Like I really prefer that you not be very scripted over time. But in the beginning you want to write it out and then you want to read it to yourself and try to add a little inflection if you can. Just add a little bit of inflection. And if you read it and then listen back and you say, would I believe what I just said? Would it be compelling? Would it be confusing? How would I feel about it? I'm going to show you guys kind of an example. And some of this has gone into it has either gone into or is going into the probate mastery certification course. So there's some of this. Here's basically what I'm doing. I'm just going to take this, and this is a unique selling proposition script that I've played around with a little bit. It happens to be one of my least favorite ones. It's not the USP that I don't like. It's the exact words, but this is exactly how I do it is I write my words down and when they look good on paper, I go, I think that looks pretty good on paper. And I'm gonna hit record on my phone or my computer or Zoom or whatever you're on, but record, really important that you record. And then you read it. And I'm gonna read it, and I'm just gonna work you guys through my exact process. I'm gonna read it with no inflection. So I work with estates to provide a turnkey service that help with the probate process. It's a lot to unpack, so I'll just give you a quick overview. I essentially take care of things like selling real estate, coordinating estate sales, property clean out, et cetera, et cetera. I'm really just here to help with things that executors might not have time to handle. Okay. And then I listen and I go, is that clear? Not is that exciting? Because that was boring. That was really, really boring the way that I did it. But I read it and then I go listen, and I'm not listening for excitement. I'm listening for clarity. Is this going to give them a good understanding of what I just said? If the answer is yes, and I didn't take too long, I'm looking at the time. How long did it take me to read it? I'm going to guess that was 40 seconds. That's my guess. Um, if it didn't take too long and it's clear, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do it again, except for I'm going to start to add some inflection. And when I add inflection, I'm thinking body language first. Where my body goes, my voice will generally follow. So I'm gonna over dramatize the body. And so if you guys kind of watch my hand gestures and myself, I'm gonna over dramatize it. My voice is gonna follow. So I work with estates to kind of provide a turnkey service that really help with the probate process. It's a lot to unpack. So I'll just give you a quick overview. I essentially can take care of things like selling real estate, coordinating estate sales, property clean out, et cetera, et cetera. I'm really just here to help with things that maybe executors might not have time to handle. So I'm adding the pauses and the inflections and the body language, and I go back and I watch myself. And the first couple of times I do this, it's really weird because I am using hand gestures and body positioning that might not be incredibly natural. At least it might not feel that way. But I'm going to do that and I'm going to watch myself and listen to myself repetitively until I can get 4 or 5 times that it's back to back to back sounding really good. And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty happy with that. If I can get 4 or 5 times back to back and sound good, then I'm good. My last step is to take the script down. It is now completely off of my screen. You guys are just going to have to trust me. I'm not looking at my script. I'm looking at the camera, and I'm going to do this organically. And I'm not going to read. I'm not going to use the exact same words, but I'm going to try to do it and ad lib it multiple times. And I'm going to go. So I'm looking at Winston. Winston. What we do is really pretty simple. My company locally, we provide almost like a turnkey type of service. It kind of helps, really like a concierge program that helps with the estate administration, the probate process. I'm not looking to bore you with a bunch of details because I know you didn't ask for my call today. The short of it is I just want to make the jobs of executors and personal representatives a little easier through probate. Can I ask? And now I'm going to go into my line of questioning. So I will record that and I'll listen and I'll go, whew, that didn't sound good. Let's go do it again. and I'll do it again. Then it sounded good. My goal, after I can read it with body language and get 4 or 5 done that sound really good, is then go in and be able to get 4 or 5 times being able to just ad lib it and deliver the idea behind the script. I want to get 4 or 5 times really good without looking at my script. And if I can get 4 or 5 times back to back, I know that I have that portion of my call pretty much nailed. Pretty much. Does it mean that I'm uh, never going to be confusing delivering it again? No, doesn't mean that. It just means that most of the time that I talk to someone about that service, they're going to be understandable and they're going to believe what I'm saying. There's nothing more unbelievable than when you can tell someone's reading their script. If I'm on the phone with someone and I can tell they're reading, I don't believe them. So I need to get it to the point where I do not at all sound like I've memorized or I'm reading things. Okay, so I'm going to do that a handful of times until it sounds really good. And that's my process for basically internalizing through chanting and repetition, boring, boring, boring repetition. That's my way of getting good on the phone, at least with my talking points. Okay. Now, later, I'm probably going to start to learn how to ask really compelling questions and be able to flow with a call where I'm using labels and using lines of question that really open up a conversation and help me get to the point where everybody goes where I want to go. Like that's what my ultimate goal is I want everyone to go to a place on a call that I want them to go. When I get on a call, my first objective is to get them to accept my material, my information. Let me email you, let me mail you my information. I want them to accept that. That's my first goal. So I've gotten so good at the opening to where if I get you on the phone and you give me the time of day, and let me be really clear, some people will not give me the time of day. Doesn't matter how good I am. I go, hey, is this Debbie? Who's this? You just another realtor? No, I don't want to talk. And like there's times when I can't get through that. But if you give me that little bit of an opening and you say, "Yeah, you can tell me why you called." I know that I'm putting a package in your hands. Why? Because I've chained things together with my questioning so well. And if I put a package in your hands, I know that we can talk about real estate and you'll tell me what you're going to do. And if we talk about real estate and you tell me what you're going to do, I know that if selling is even a remote option, you'll commit to letting me bring you an offer. And that is kind of a little bit of an extra step beyond the chanting and getting your sayings down. So we want to chant and get our sayings down first, and then get to the point where we're really, really good at questioning and leading people where we want in a call. All right. I try not to soapbox, but that was a 20-minute soapbox for you guys. So what do you guys want to talk about today? Any questions or anything?
Hi, Bruce. This is Gerald.
Hey, Gerald, what's going on?
Not too much. Hey, listen, I just have a question about phone prospecting. I'm just trying to understand from the group as a whole and you as well. Um, how do you guys go about, you know, using like what tool do you use for phone prospecting?
Hmm.
And then like how do you get around the items as far as I guess solicitation, the rights to solicit without getting flagged as a spammer or something like that.
Flagged by who?
The phone carriers for
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
I would say, and then secondly, like making sure that you're not in violation of any type of local. I'm in Texas, so local state laws in Texas.
Yeah, it's really going to be the federal um, Federal Communications Act, um, Telecommunications Act, so FTC. Um, so it won't be anything local or statewide as far as calling. Let's start from the beginning. First off, is personally, I use justcall.io. My call process is not a power dialing, let me get through 100 leads an hour process. There are people in here that load their leads into a power dialer, and I love you. Please do whatever is comfortable for you guys. If that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to have a caller do, no worries. Me, we go slow. We're essentially identifying 20, 25 people a day, and we want those 20, 25 people a day to hear from us 3 or 4 times that day if they haven't answered the phone. So I'm going after why have I missed this call a couple of times? Who is this? I'm trying to create curiosity by calling a handful of times. Um, so just call.io is the happens to be the dialer that I use, not because it's the best, but because it happens to be the dialer I use. Okay. Um, if you want a power dialer, Mojo, it would probably, or Vulcan 7 would be power dialers that I go. They'll do 50, 60 calls an hour on a single line power dialer. They'll do 100 to 150 calls an hour on a multi-line power dialer. We just like to do the copy paste method of calling. I would not call from my cell phone unless I'm calling fewer than maybe 10 leads a day. So if you're an agent or investor, you're calling fewer than 10, just use your cell phone. If you're calling more than 10 leads a day, please just invest in a soft phone. It'll make your life easier on a lot of fronts. Number one is if your soft phone voice over IP number gets flagged as potential spam, you just replace that number for $5. If your cell phone gets flagged as potential spam, you're jumping through a whole lot of hoops to try to get it off of the spam list. So if you're making like a bunch of dials, don't use your cell phone. Um, so, how do we avoid getting numbers flagged as spam? Number one is we test to make sure that they haven't been flagged for spam. So you're just going to have to test that call on some friends or peers' numbers and say, hey, how's it showing up? I don't want it to show up as potential spam. They will inevitably, eventually, if you're consistently prospecting for your business, inevitably a phone number is going to get flagged. You can minimize the risk of that by keeping the number of dials on a number under 50 per day, under 50 dials per day. So let's pretend that I take 20 leads today and I say, I'm going to call these 20 people 3 or 4 times until they've answered and engaged with me. Um, and pretend that no one answers. Well, that means that I'm going to make 60 to 80 calls that day if nobody answers, and I'm calling everyone 3 or 4 times. Um, I don't really want to make 60 to 80 calls on any given number, so I'm going to go get a second number and I'm going to break it up a little bit. So if you're dialing more than 50 dials in a day per number, your likelihood of getting flagged just by the carrier is much higher. They're looking at it going, you're calling more than a typical person's going to call organically. So we're going to mark you as a potential spammer just because of the number of calls you're making. Um, every now and then, if you are saying the wrong things on the phone and you're coming off the wrong way or someone misinterprets what you're calling for, they will block you or they'll actually report you as spam. If that happens, if you get blocked a certain number of times, your number is going to get flagged as spam. If somebody reports you as a spammer, it's pretty much automatically you get flagged as possible spam. So when I call, I'm just making sure that people don't have a reason to go block me. Let me give you guys a reason that I block people. I block people all the time. Hey, I know you don't need anything right now. Can I call you back in a couple of weeks? Let's pretend that I feel like I'm in a really good mood that day. I'll usually say yes. I don't want to be verbally rude to someone, but I'll be passively rude and then I'll go block their number. I don't want to hear from them in 2 or 3 weeks. Okay. So personally, guys, I don't ask people if I can call back. Never. Never. If they want to tell me to call back, great. Not a problem. But I don't ask if I can call back. I usually end pretty much any call with, hey, look at my stuff. If you want to talk to me, you can call me. That's how I end most things. Then they don't feel threatened and don't feel like they need to go block me. FTC regulations, really tricky. And I'm not here in a legal capacity. You guys all know that. So this is not the law. This is not me telling you that you should ignore it. This is not telling you that you should follow it. This is none of that. I'm telling you my justification for calling everyone on my probate list. And this is my personal justification. Number one, they have applied for probate and put themselves into the public domain. They are the representative that's responsible for handling the estate administration process. They may not want calls, but they are going to get calls. They've got to deal with that estate legally. Number two, if I'm calling as a real estate agent, I'm much more likely to bump into some problems. So I call with two different hats on, and then I will turn the conversation into the fact that I'm a realtor if real estate comes up. But the first hat that I have on is I help with the probate process as a concierge service. So I'm helping with the estate administration and the probate process. I'm not calling to list your house. Now, as the call evolves and they say, yeah, we're probably going to sell, then I'll talk about a listing option. But that's not what I'm leading with. Investors, you guys have a much easier path. The code and the law has been written very specifically that to essentially say if you're calling for your own personal purchase, um, yeah, that's a personal matter. The do not call laws are a lot more vague calling for a personal matter. So generally, when real estate comes up, I go, "Hey, if you're going to sell, do you think I could bring you an offer?" And then I'll shift the call toward, I could get you a cash offer. I might be able to make one myself, or I could show you my listing plan. So I'll kind of move into my role as a listing agent secondarily, as a secondary backup once real estate's talked about. So if you're an investor calling, you've got a lot more leniency, less risk. If you are calling for estate administration purposes, you have even less risk. And I just don't run into people that get mad. I don't say things that make people mad when I call. If you're saying things that just irk people, then change the way you're saying it, and you won't. All right. Sorry to make it sound so black and white. All right. Hey, Gerald, did that kind of cover everything?
Yes, thanks, Bruce. I appreciate that.
I appreciate the question.
Bruce,
All
can I
right.
say something to Gerald?
Yeah.
Gerald, I've been doing this since 2012, and I've called the do not call registry every day, and nobody's ever complained.
Yeah. I'm trying to be really cautious. So Douglas just said that. I try to be really cautious. I want you guys to know, are you calling someone on a do not call list? Yep. Do you need to be aware of the risks and do you need to make the decision for yourself whether you're going to call or not? Yeah. Um, I don't want to say, hey, you guys are in the clear. I think I'm mostly in the clear and I've got a case to make that would probably clear me most of the time. Um, uh, is there a risk? Yes. Absolutely. And you just need to be aware of what that risk is and either make sure that you cover your bases with what you're offering and why you're calling, or don't call if you still feel at risk. Right.
Bruce, one follow-up question. What's the cost of the Just Call IO per month?
Cost me $29 per seat and $6 per phone number, and then there's some little taxes and junk fees thrown in there. So $29 for the seat and $6 for a phone number. If I have two phone numbers, that would be $36 plus some um, taxes and stuff. So maybe 40 bucks to run with two numbers.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Michael, what's up? You're muted. And while Michael's unmuting himself, Douglas, I certainly didn't want to jump in there and kind of correct you. That was not a correction at all. I get really nervous with people going, "Hey, Bruce said ignore the do not call list." It's absolutely what I would never say. I do think that there's some ways that you can be safe and ethical. But you got to make that decision for yourself.
Okay, Bruce, and also, why did you suggest against using your cell phone?
Too many calls. So if I'm gonna prospect, I'm generally prospecting for an hour or two a day. I'm making 20, 30, 40, 50 calls. And I'm going to be using my cell phone through the day anyway. I just don't want that number getting flagged as a potential spam number because then it's a big hassle to get it fixed.
Thank you.
You
Yeah.
can get a free Google Voice number as well if you're worried about that. They work really well. It's free.
Sure.
And you can also call the do not call list. You can call the person once, but if they tell you not to, that's when you delete them, never call them again. But like legally, you're allowed to like call them once, I've been told by a lawyer.
Okay.
So as soon as they tell you not to call, just don't call again and you'll be fine, I believe. But
I will do what I did with Douglas. I've been told that by lawyers too. I've also been told different things from lawyers. You're probably good calling once and then making sure if they say don't call again, not calling again. Honestly, people don't tell me not to call again.
yeah.
So you're probably good. And Google Voice is a great free, absolutely free resource for some of you guys. Hey guys, I'm butting in here with a quick ask. If you're getting value out of this coaching today, I want to invite you to check out my Probate Mastery trainings over at www.probatemastery.com. Probate Mastery is for you if you're an agent or an investor that wants to work with motivated sellers that have inherited real estate that they don't need and in many cases can't afford. These sellers are more appreciative, willing to trust your expertise, and less likely to nickel and dime you over commission or price. Why is that? They're often in the middle of a complex probate or an estate administration process, and this means that real estate is very often a burden on them, and they simply need the help. Inside of Probate Mastery, I teach you exactly where to source your leads, how to establish value, and offer your service in a way that quickly makes you, as the professional, your market's expert in the probate space. If you want to know a little bit more, go over to www.probatemastery.com. Hope to see you guys inside of the community. Thanks. All right. What else, Michael? Anything else?
No, yeah, my question is about the package. It seems super important. I'm working on mine. I don't think it's very good, so I haven't sent any out yet. Do you have two different packages? Do you have one as an investor and one as a realtor?
I have dozens.
Oh, wow, okay, yeah.
Yeah. No, I've got a basically I call it my sandbox where I'm constantly playing with materials that I'm going to send out. So my packages are not real estate forward. They're inclusive of real estate, but they are kind of full on administration resources forward. Do you need a lawyer? Here's the things that I can do to connect you with the right lawyer. Do you need to do paperwork? Here's how to do that, and here's how to get help doing it. Do you want to know the steps of probate? Here are the steps of probate. Here's my brochure. You need some vendors. Here are my vendors. Do you need to sell a house? Here are your options. So that's a vague overview of those. I think it's relatively important that that you guys do come up with your own. I have been promising, and I am going to do it, that I'll put some resources into Probate Mastery. Um, I make sure with resources, my justcall.io is actually ringing right now. Let me figure out how to get it turned off. Um, so I make sure that when I want to send resources out as the person that runs Probate Mastery and coaching, and now this new referral program, that I do my best to make sure nobody's sending the same materials. Okay. So when I put something in Probate Mastery that you guys are able to copy, absolutely, you guys could go copy. I think it becomes kind of important that you can use AI and rework it to be kind of your own, to look like your own. Yep. But that's I would lead Michael with estate administration or probate services, and then real estate is one of those things that's in there.
Yeah, that's different. I'm in another coaching group, and it seems just too real estate heavy and like off-putting, I think. So that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks. Hey, Laura, what's going on?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I am actually the event director for the Women's Council of Realtors in St. Lucie County, Florida.
Yeah.
And we're putting on an introduction to probate class November 5th.
Hmm.
And I have a probate attorney, an estate attorney doing it. And we're just going to do it's non-CEU, just an hour doing an introductory class. But I thought that it might be a good way to segue people to your course if they're interested, because there's really no one. I mean, I think NAR has something, but it's still with a third party,
Hmm.
so I was thinking, if you could send me some information that I can, have at the class,
Yeah.
that might work.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yes. Um, I've been, I'm not asking to come to Florida, but I've actually been to Florida a handful of times this year to
Mhm.
do introductory to probate things. I think it's a great idea. I'll send you some stuff for sure.
Oh, I didn't know that I would have had you, except we have
Yeah.
no money, so this guy is doing it pro bono.
I did it pro bono too.
Oh, did you?
I
Then I
love when
really
people
would have
pay
asked you.
me. I love when
Well,
people pay me, but yeah.
yeah. Well, next year, let's hope that you can do something, because I'm the event director next year as well. So
Okay.
let's see what we
Cool.
can do. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, but also my question is, one of your suggestions, which I tried to follow, was to actually go see a probate hearing,
Hmm.
right? Go to court. And they don't seem to do that in my area. Everything's on Zoom,
Yeah.
So they actually looked at me like I had five heads. So,
Yeah. So let's take your experience of getting looked at like you have five
mhm,
heads. Let's take
mhm,
that as a learning experience for those of us that haven't asked that yet.
yeah.
Because there's really two ways to learn. Number one is by doing, and I've generally learned by doing. I go out and I do something that other people haven't done before, and generally the first 18 times it completely fails. Laura went and did that and got looked at like she had five heads. So use me and Laura as your way of learning. We made the mistake so that you don't have to. Okay. So some counties don't allow public access to probate hearings. Some, most do. Most counties will let you come sit in the court hearings, but we don't know, and we don't want to look like an idiot when we go ask if we can sit in the court hearing. I mean, I'm willing to look like an idiot. I'd like to not look like an idiot if I can help it. So when I go to the clerk's office, I usually say, "Hey, the last year or so, I've run into a couple of families, clients of mine that were needing some help with probate and estate administration." And I just kind of realized I didn't understand much about the process myself. I was wondering if I might be able to see a copy of a probate application and understand just a little bit about it so that I can properly advise my clients. I would say that today. I've been doing probates for almost 11 years now. I teach probate mastery. I know the probate process. I straight up lie to them. Hey, last year I had a couple of people that were going through probate and I realized I didn't understand enough of it myself. I was wondering if there's a way I could see an application and maybe talk to you about the process a little bit. Um, what I'm trying to do is get some familiarity with the clerks. I'm also leading to ask for the probate hearing if I can access the probate hearing. Um, I've had people that have gone in and they've asked the clerks, "Hey, can I go sit in the probate hearings?" And the clerk goes, "Why do you want to know that? It's an open hearing, but all of a sudden you've asked the wrong way and you raise the blood pressure of the probate clerk." Okay. So I talk about the process and then I go, okay, so once somebody applies, what else do they need to give you? And they'll give you a list. They'll usually say they got to give a death certificate, they got to give a copy of the will, they have to give a list of heirs and a list of assets, et cetera, et cetera. And I say, and then do they just automatically get approved for probate or do they have to meet with a judge or something? I already know the answer. Okay. You guys already know the answer, hopefully. They got to meet with a judge. And they
Mhm.
say, Judge, is that like a public hearing? Is there any chance I could hear one or is it private? And they go, Oh yeah, it's public. It's public. Yeah, you can go. It's every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Or no, it's private. But now in Laura's case, if you'd asked that way, they would have said, Oh, it's private, and it wouldn't have been, what are you asking that for?
Mhm.
So I kind of walk people into my way of asking that, where if it's closed, I haven't created a lot of resistance with the clerk. Um, so for those that, by the way, I experienced that exact same thing before, where the clerk was like, "No, no, you can't
Mhm.
sit in a hearing. It's highly unusual that you would ask." I've heard that before. It's highly unusual that you should ask. I don't have a friend in the clerk if they say that. So now I'm kind of walking into that. I'm setting the question up a little bit better
That's a good idea. Thank you.
for sure. Um, so hearings should be public. If they're not public, it's not the end of the world. I want to go to hearings for one of two reasons. Number one, to learn. Number two is if I hear people talking about real estate in there, of course they're gonna be first on my list to connect with. And they will very frequently talk to the clerk or the judge about real estate in those hearings, very frequently. So I like to go so that I can hear that. But sometimes it's closed, and there's plenty of other ways to build the relationship. All right. Laura, do me a favor and email,
Okay.
and I'll send you some details on the mastery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
All right. Who else? Anybody else have anything going on? All right. Let's see some hands. I'm gonna call on some familiar faces. Just if you're a familiar face in here, at least have something on your mind if I call on you. I always call on David. Let me call on Michael White. Michael, how's life in Charlotte?
Hey, Bruce, doing pretty good.
Good, good. You got any probate pipelines cooking?
Unfortunately, I don't. I had knee surgery back on September the 11th, so I'm
Oh,
on
yeah.
knee replacement surgery.
Oh, full replacement. Okay. That'll slow things down a little bit. So you're getting back in the swing of things?
That's it. Yeah, still resting and just trying to build up my stamina again, and
Okay.
I'm listening to more coaching calls and seminars than I'm doing anything else right now.
Yeah.
So
All right. Good.
so
There's always a season for learning, education, and refinement before you're back on the field. Season for
absolutely,
practice. Let's say that.
absolutely. Sorry to disappoint and not have
Not a
anything.
disappointment. I'm fishing for conversation from folks because a lot of you guys, I mean, maybe you don't have a problem with me just getting up here and talking forever without really any steering, but I want you guys to steer me if possible. Hey Joe, thanks.
Yes, I was just looking at the probate website for the county, and it has in there, it says case types descendant. Okay, we both know what that is. But then it says adult guardian estates and minor estates. Would
Mhm.
we get involved in those, or would that come across?
Yeah, absolutely. So generally, if there is an adult guardian or a minor, there is still an estate. The representative is going to be an attorney or some person operating in a court-appointed capacity. So adult guardians and minors, most of the time it's an attorney. One of my best referral sources is a guardianship attorney. We connected over a probate filing, a probate case. and she was a guardianship attorney. The owners of the estate were under 18, and she was my point of contact, and she loved everything that we did, and started sending me business. So, same thing with adult guardians are going to be either guardianship attorneys or elder care attorneys, and very frequently they are versed in doing probate. Um, at least they should be versed in doing probate. Doesn't mean that they're always good. A lot of folks in guardianship and elder care get court appointed. So they may be handling lots and lots of cases. In the case of the attorney that I just shared with you guys, handling lots and lots of court appointed cases for low pay, a little bit overwhelmed, needed badly someone that could take care of some of the minutia that her clients needed to handle. So she's got clients that have inherited a house, and that house needs locks changed and grass cut and cleaned out and things like that. Are the 11 and 12-year-old kids going to do that? No. Is the attorney going to do that? No. Does it need to be done? Yes. So it's just a really, really great connection if you can find that guardianship or elder care attorney or administrator, because sometimes they're not attorneys, sometimes they're acting more like a fiduciary that the court just likes.
So then the court knows who these people are, and they just sort of appoint when
Yep.
that situation arises. They says, okay, I know Tom Smith, and Tom Smith can take care of this.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Happens frequently. And of course, the family can hire an attorney that does guardianship or elder care as well. Most of the time, they seem to be court appointed, at least in my area.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. You guys want these attorneys, guardianship, elder care, bankruptcy, obviously probate, obviously, estate administration, estate planning. So estate planning and estate administration, they're not the same thing, but they're usually do both. So estate planning, somebody has not died and they're planning for for the future and their legacy transfer. Estate administration is typically going to be probate or administering the trust. An attorney that I connected with just through networking a year ago, I called her, found out that she did estates, and I called and she said, "Hey, just so you know, I don't do any administration, and i.e., I don't do any probate. I do only planning." Hey, not a problem. I need people for planning too. How many of us have clients that need a trust? If you say I don't have clients that need trusts, you're not thinking big enough for how to serve your community. So we could use all those attorneys, and they could use us. All right. So both Davids kind of gave me a little wave a little bit ago, I think. I know one David, Pinnell, gave me a wave, and then Cordero um, put his camera on, and that usually means he has something to say. So let's see which one of them speaks up first. Neither one. There's Pinnell coming off mute.
Yeah, I just wanted to see your
Man.
partner program. Were you going to do something like Viral's doing? Did I hear that?
Uh, to a degree, we're going to do something like Viral's doing. So short and sweet of the partner program. Most of you guys have actually been in one of the workshops where we rolled it out last week. If you haven't, we're able to drop in markets with my personal model of running business. And my model of running business is cost heavy, very cost heavy. It's not the way to do business. It's just my way because I normally don't want to handle a bunch of cold calls, and I don't want to do all my own mailers and things like that. So my side is we get people to call and we create the pipeline lead. So send me resources. Yes, we may have a real estate need, and then it comes to me and one of my team members. So one of my team members is also helping me nurture the lead as well. So if I'm not calling them, team member is. Then we're sending packages out and we're continuing to follow up. And part of that, we're doing interviews with our partners in markets where every month you're getting a couple of videos done with me or one of your peers talking about your business, something in the probate process, or we're interviewing a vendor or attorney in your market. So we're kind of giving you guys some videos that you can put out with that as well. So, David, similar to Viral in that respect, where we're going to be doing some videos with you.
Yeah, it's definitely the last piece that I'm putting together is that I don't mind making the phone calls. I've got the mail now. It's the social media presence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not what people think about just posting random photos or sharing stuff on social media or spending a bunch of money that you get entertainment leads other than real targeted leads on social media.
Mm-hmm.
That I hired that company just so I could leverage that side of it. And I don't want to do it, but I have to make the video. So it forces me to get in that habit. And it's actually where I'm making almost 5 videos a week now because I've got that habit going.
Yeah.
And I'm way ahead of their schedule. So it's and then you're constantly thinking about what you could share in a 3 minute span. And it's not that hard. It's really fun, actually.
Yeah, it is. If you guys get in the habit of doing content for yourself, videos, it's huge, huge. One of our guys here has been doing videos for most of this year, and he started getting direct calls in the last
My
month.
next one at 3 o'clock
Calls
or
one
at 2 o'clock.
off of his videos now. So people that he couldn't get on the phone, they didn't
Yep.
respond to his mail, but they're calling going, "Hey, I've been watching your videos. I saw your video and I need to sell the house. I saw your video and I was wondering if you could help me with an attorney or something like that." And that's when you know you're getting traction.
Yeah. I'd like to see if in my tracking I got 20 deals from calls outbound or inbound, inbound letters, 20 there, 20 there, 20 attorneys give me 1 deal a year, and then 20 from the social media. That would be 80 to 100 deals in probate would be really sweet.
Well, you know what's really funny, David? You said 20 attorneys giving you one deal a year. If you have 20 attorneys giving you one deal a year, three of them, maybe four, will give you four.
Yeah.
And one of them is probably going to give you one a month.
Yep. I
So,
got one guy I have 2 listings from him right now, and then he called me 2 weeks ago about a foreclosure that we had to reinstate.
yeah.
And we're actually closing tomorrow on it ourselves.
Awesome.
And so he calls me the white knight now. So I like that.
Yeah. Time to start schmoozing. You need to keep that. I lost my bankruptcy attorney that was good for a couple of deals a month. I lost them. And I if I could go back and do it again, they'd be at every concert that I ever went to. I would really start schmoozing them to keep that relationship.
Yeah.
So,
I invited the guy to we run the HOA in our neighborhood.
mhm.
It's not an HOA, it's just a gathering. We all get together. It's an old neighborhood. But I'm gonna donate money to the HOA that we're gonna hire him as the attorney because he doesn't want a direct referral. So I asked him if I could do it that way, and he's like, "Yeah, that's fine."
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're gonna bring him in for a trust speech. So
Good. Okay, good. At first, I got a little nervous. I hired him to come sit in an HOA meeting. I was like, that might not be
no, yeah.
the most flattering thing that you could ask someone to do. Hey, let me go to Randy real quick. Randy, what's up?
All right. Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
All right. Sorry about the picture. I'm driving like I usually am during your time
Yeah.
frame.
Yeah.
So something that I did Friday that other people need to keep in mind is had an appointment with a new attorney that we weren't discussing probates or anything like that. We were looking for an attorney that would file TROs for us, temporary restraining orders on foreclosures.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to find one that's willing to do it at a reasonable price because, $10,000, they're saying, I don't want to do it, but if you'll pay me 10, I'll do it. But we found one that'll do it. And we were talking about, well, what else do you do? And so, well, I do estate planning and probates and stuff like that. And I said, oh, well, I'm assuming you probably have plenty of realtors to deal with. Yeah, I've got 5 or 6. I said, do you have any investors? No, don't have any investors. I said, well, you're looking at one right here. That's one of the main things that we do. And she gave me 2 properties right then and there at the table.
What? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've already talked to one of them this morning, and they're waiting on the other one to call me.
Amazing.
So, and she said both of them are ready to go. The probate's not over with, but they're done. One was a hoarder house, and the other one's just kids are all out of town, so they're just like ready to be done with it. They've already got the stuff they want out of it. So it's like, find me more, please. So
Absolutely.
always ask them what all they do, because you might be surprised that they may be a customer of yours too.
Yeah. Generally speaking, if I refer an attorney, so if I'm going to refer them, I usually want them to be a specialist in estate administration and probate. But I love the connections to attorneys that do a little bit of everything. And I'm not saying that this attorney, Randy, did a little bit of everything, but kind of sounded like, hey, I'll do some restraining orders, I'll do this, I'll do that, and probate and estate. I love them because they're usually not pursued. A lot of times they don't have people that they refer. They may not get 5 probate cases a month, but maybe 5 a year, and they usually need help. They're busy. They're doing a lot of different things. So and going as the investor angle is beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, this one was she used to work she was actually a referral from another attorney, good friend of hers, that couldn't do the TROs because the law firm she works for, the foreclosures here in the States, so it would be conflict of interest.
Yep.
Suing her own company.
Oh.
And so she goes, but this other friend of mine, she might do it because she does real estate law. She worked at a title company for a while. And we got in there and she goes, yeah, I've never done a TRO. I've had it done against me, but they're not hard. So I'll be happy to do them. Well, what else do you do?
Yep.
And that's the question I ask everybody. What else do you do? Because you might be surprised.
That's one of the best coaching questions to ask. I read a book on coaching a few years ago, and it has applied to so many more things in life than coaching. But one of the questions that you ask during coaching, and now I use it everywhere, is what else? What else? If you want to open up a conversation, just ask what else.
Yep.
Good. Awesome. Well, thanks, Randy. Great input. And everyone should take that advice and go connect with some attorneys and say, what else do you do? Eric, let's go to you.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for calling. So I have a probate executor that wants to hire me, but the attorney's saying we should probably go with someone that I can recommend. But she's saying, no, I want to go with you. But so she's hesitant. She wants me to call the attorney. I called the attorney, left a message, and that's where we're at. She wants to meet with me later today and hopefully sign with me, and then I can write the introductory email to the attorney.
Yeah.
But any thoughts or ideas about how to approach those situations?
Yeah. This is where I'm gonna go really soft hand and essentially say, hey, look, you've got an attorney that obviously probably has some kind of referral relationship with someone, and I don't want to ruin that. I don't want to make you to make your attorney mad. If you're open to seeing what I can do, I do work not exclusively, but specifically with estates and probate. And if you like it, then I would say you can introduce me to your attorney and we can have a conversation. I would ask for an introduction. So I would go kind of soft because the last thing you want is them playing telephone where the client says, Eric said that he does this all the time and that you shouldn't be referring. And not that you would have said that, but you don't want her interpreting it like, why is she trying to force her agent on you? You don't want that interpretation. So I would go really soft that way. If she conveys the message to her attorney improperly, there's less likely gonna gonna make it's less likely to make the attorney kind of stiffen their back. So I would go pretty soft, and then hey, that they may be a really good agent. Obviously your attorney's probably got a solid relationship with them and sends them a lot of people, and doesn't want to make them mad. If if um, if I could show you what I do and you like it, do you think that you could introduce me to your attorney and not give me your attorney's information and ask me to call him?
Right.
That almost never works.
Right.
That almost never works. An introduction, an email, a text, something like that. That'll work. Now, I want you to be prepared that for the attorney to try to sabotage you. They're already trying to sabotage you. Um, they might try to do it on a group call. We had that in the last week. An attorney tried to sabotage someone on a group call. Who was that? It was someone on coaching showed up, and the attorney had said, "Hey, I'm going to do this for free, and I'll get paid after the estate settles." And they showed up on a group call, and the attorney goes, "Oh, hey, you're going to make a lot of money on this. Why don't you go ahead and pay my fee now?" Said that to the agent, and the agent was like, "Okay, that's kind of an unusual request." And the attorney goes, "Well, if you think it's an unusual request, obviously you don't care much about your client." And it just really got out of hand. Um, you're not going to run into that. I don't want to worry you or anything like that. But every now and then, if an attorney's already trying to undermine you a little bit, they could still try to do that when you guys are on a group call. But it's much better if there's an introduction. Much better if the client says, "This is Eric. I want to use him. He does probate. He's certified in probate. Will you guys talk?" Much, 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 much better if they can introduce you versus you just calling and saying, "Hey, your client told me to call you."
Right. Okay. So that ship has sailed. I already called and said that they told me to call.
Well, you
Um,
haven't had a conversation yet, so that
no.
ship is not necessarily sailed.
Okay.
Go do your meeting and then tell the client, "If you like this, could you introduce me? I already called, but they didn't answer. Could you introduce me?"
Okay. And I think, okay, so that would be set for ideal would be she signs a listing agreement and then we get the introduction that way.
Yeah, ideal.
Ideal. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then second to ideal is the introduction.
Yes.
Got
Yep.
it.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
All right, good. Okay, anybody else? We're a little after, we're a little over time. Let me see if I have a hard stop. If I do have a hard stop, then I'm already late. Hey, Cordero, did you have something? Did your hand go up a couple of times or no?
Yeah, I just had a real quick question. I know when you're sending mail, it seems like you send a generic version of mail to those who you have not contacted, and then
Mhm.
for those that you do know are selling, you'll send like a specialty package or something like that,
Mhm.
$50 or something.
Not for a single package, but that's what I'm gonna spend on warm mail over time.
Got it.
Yeah.
And that's over what, 6 weeks or
I'm usually spending that in the first couple of months.
got it.
Make a huge splash, and get to
Oh,
the point
nice.
where when I show up, they say something like someone said to me on Friday, yeah, I was interviewing, I was about to go with this other guy, and he said, after I got your stuff, I think I'll just list with you. And I hadn't even presented yet. So that's
That's that's great. So would you do that like every week? Just bam, 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 bam.
no month apart. I could um, drop a whole bunch of low-ish value pieces weekly. By lowish value, we're better than a letter and a postcard, but we're not really doing anything big.
Mm,
Or I could do two or three big pieces,
mm,
and I tend to typically go for the big pieces.
got it. And then do you have an example of what that is?
Um, yeah, verbally. verbally, and we'll put one in probate mastery. So verbally, use your brochure. If you have a trifold brochure, use a checklist. If you have a checklist, maybe send out the stages or steps of probate. I would send a vendor list if you have a vendor list, a cover letter, a real estate options page. And are there more things that you could put in there? Yeah, for sure. Yep. So this is one of those things that you guys can't get. I'm using this for the partners, but mine's 21 pages. My first one's like 21 pages that walks them through a lot of the process.
So it's more like a little book,
Close.
like a magazine or something.
Pretty but it's gonna be, but pretty close. Yeah. It's pretty substantial.
Got it.
Pretty substantial. But do you need all that? No. You just need something that isn't the same as anyone else is sending. And I'll just go ahead and tell you guys, the odds of anyone else doing this, though, there's a reason that I am putting a referral program out. There's a reason. And the reason is I've given like 40 or 50 people this exact process and said, just go get yourself 20 pipeline leads every month. Here's how to do it, and put this resource package together. And out of all those people, it's like one person that's done it. So, um, not many people actually implement. So if you implement anything, even if it's not 21 pages, anything is going to be better than 98% of anyone else that you might be competing with. And that's all we have to do is just be better than the other person that they talk to. And they're not going to talk to many people. I mean, we call, and we may be competing with some wholesalers and investors. No offense to wholesalers. We may be competing with some wholesalers, and there's pretty much always 10 or 15 new wholesalers calling probates in my market. Um, they don't really, the average one doesn't have a chance. So I'm definitely not the only person going after probate leads, but most of them are wholesalers that are on a constant rotating basis, and they just don't have a chance to establish credibility before me.
Have you ever like thrown in like a gift card or something, like a
I've thought
Starbucks
about it.
instead
Yeah,
let's have
I,
coffee or something, or
I've thought
you
about it.
know, coffee card?
Yeah, an idea, and this is not for the faint of heart, but an idea is $25 Depot gift card, and then a note that says, hey, if you meet with me and if you're going to sell, if you meet with me and let me bring you an offer, I'll bring you a $200 gift card. Okay. And bribe your way in. I'd love to try something like that, but not for the faint of heart. I like the idea of legally bribing my way into relationships.
I just thought of that as we were talking. I was
Yeah.
just thinking like something I could do for $50, you
Yeah.
know.
hmm
But you want
I
the
would,
repetition, right? You
yeah, I
want
want the repetition. And if I was going to spend 50, I wouldn't do it all in one shot. I'd want the repetition, and I wouldn't put things in there that just naturally boosted the value of the thing. It needs to be value that they actually want. And a gift card may or may not be what they actually want. So
I think the Home Depot thing's a great idea.
yeah,
$25, and then if we what was that, if we do a deal together, or just if
if you're gonna sell, please don't do this if you're not gonna sell the house. But if you're gonna sell, and you let me come give you an offer, here's I've got another $100 or another $200 to Home Depot that I'll just bring on the appointment. It's yours, no strings attached. Only string is let me bring you an offer. Um, if anyone does that and goes bankrupt, come back and report to the group so that nobody else does it.
uh,
I think it would work though.
I think so too.
All right. Yep. Good. Hey Joe, we're a bit over time. Got
Oh, I just wanted to say,
go for it.
see, Elizabeth's post. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, let's look here real quick. Making calls, you've been finding that many attorneys have real estate license and will list the property, offer a referral fee to them. It hasn't panned out. So in Pennsylvania, Really unusual. I'm assuming that's Pennsylvania, Elizabeth. Really unusual in Pennsylvania, depending on where, that many attorneys are going to have a license. I have some attorneys that have a license, but they don't list themselves. Every now and then, you're going to run into an attorney that's kind of doing both. Mm, it'll happen. I think that maybe you just haven't talked to enough attorneys, because attorneys that do estate administration and they're a professional doing estate administration very rarely are going to try to put the hat on of being a realtor as well. If they're scraping nickels together and trying to make money any way that they can, they're going to be doing a little bit of probate, a little bit of real estate, a little bit of guardianship, a little bit of litigation. Those attorneys may try to mix in real estate and get paid on it. The professionals that are doing a number of estate administration and probate cases every month probably probably are not licensed, and offering them a referral, um, I'm I'm gonna kind of be a friend. First off, we don't know each other yet. Me and that attorney, we don't have any kind of relationship. So kind of start sounding a little desperate when they say, "Oh, I just list myself. Oh, I'll give you a referral fee." It starts sounding a little bit desperate. So I'm gonna lean more into, let me see if I can build a relationship and fill in some gaps somewhere. And then after that relationship gets going and we've got a little bit of friendship, now I might say, hey, if you ever want to get out of listing and just hand it over and maybe get a cut of the commission or a referral, I'd be open to talking about that. But a stranger that they just shut down by saying, "Oh, I list properties myself," then throwing up the referral, that's not going to work. So if you want to get to a point where you're giving them a referral and they're sending you the deals, great. Be slower to make that ask though.
Really quick, wouldn't that be a conflict of interest, Bruce?
In my opinion, yeah. But that's not my legal opinion. I feel like it could be a conflict of interest. Um, but it doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be. I just feel like if you're doing a high level estate administration and you have more than one client, um, it could be a conflict just because how well can you really do all these different things? You probably ought to have referral partners.
Yeah, I would think as an attorney that would be a conflict of interest. I would definitely maybe pitch that to an attorney. I mean, I don't know if that
I
just
would never tell them it's a conflict of interest.
don't ever tell them that.
Unless you want them to hate you, that's not
Yeah,
our objective here. We want the
yeah,
relationship and we want the referrals.
true.
Hey, don't you know that what you're doing is stupid and you're going to lose your license? What are they going to say to you? Oh my gosh, David, thank you so much for pointing that out. I didn't even think about that. No, they're going to tell you to get lost. All right,
Yeah.
so let them run their conflict of interest if they're comfortable with it. Let them. If somebody wants to do call all the do not calls, let them. If an attorney wants to do everything, let them. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to try to build a relationship and find a way to get the referrals later. I absolutely will, but I'm not going to try to correct them unless they've asked me. If they ask, it's different. But at this point, they haven't asked. They've kind of shut you down. No, I'm not going to send you deals because I list the houses myself. Well, that's stupid. Relationship dead. So, relationship first, and then find a way to maybe get business later. That's what I do with those attorneys, I think. And some of them you're never going to get business from if they're trying to do that. Some of them. And I'm not saying that they're bad attorneys. I'm not saying that. I just think that it makes things complicated if they're trying to handle the estate and sell the house. It makes things complicated and it makes me question whether they're really good at any of it. Doesn't make me say you're not good at any of it. It just makes me question. That's all. All right. Okay, guys. Super late, and I'm late for another appointment. So I will see you guys next week, same time on Tuesday. Thanks so much.